I'm gonna do a quick audio check to make sure everything's okay. Give me just a moment. Please and thank you. Says I'm live here. Okay, give me a minute. Checking on my phone. Oh, it says I'm live, but I can't see. Okay, there we go. And testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah, and audio seems to be working. Let me check the audio on YouTube as well, see if it's playing videos. Yeah, okay, cool. Good to go. Save that. Okay, fantastic, perfect. Okay, there we go. What's up, everybody? Ben Jaye here, and welcome to the live stream. Have no idea what's going to go down tonight, but we'll get it started. Yo, Val's here. I love Val. Val, that was so much fun last time. Thanks for being back. How's your day going, Val? And I know you probably can't join, but I will send you a link just in case. Yeah, anybody watching right now, if you guys want to jump on, just leave a comment in the chat box, and then I'll send you a Zoom link so you guys can join if you want to. Oh, actually, Val, it's the same link as last time. So if you have the same link as last time, you can just click that if you want to join. Exact same link. Let's see, for today, what would I want to talk about? There's a few random things I was going to bring up to start the stream off, but first of all, does anyone know what love bugs are? Because in Seoul right now, we have like an influx of love bugs. Love bugs are a real animal, a real bug. They exist. Of course, we know the phrase love bug. Like there was Herbie the love bug way back in the 70s. Even there would be jokes like in the 60s and 50s about like catching the love bug. Even the Jonas Brothers song Love Bug. I never really knew it was like an actual bug, but like a love bug is an actual bug. And we have a bunch of them in Seoul right now. Val said, wishing it was Friday at 5 p.m. I feel that energy, Val. I'm lucky because today and tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, it's test day. So like no real teaching. And thank God, because yeah. We do like test day like once a month, and I'm always like, yeah, you get to the end of the month, you like, give me the test day. Give me a break. It's not an off day, but it's like no real teaching. But yeah, so love bugs are a real thing, and this is what they look like. Here they go. This is a love bug. Yeah, and you can see right here, love bug outbreak spreads in Seoul. It's a real thing. A love bug is a species of March fly found in parts of Central America and the southeastern United States, especially along the Gulf Coast. It's also known as the honeymoon fly or the double-headed bug. During and after mating, matured pairs remain together, even in flight for up to several days. And they literally just fly around like that, connected. And yeah, and if you go outside, you're gonna see them. Yeah, some stores are they're getting into stores. My students told me they have killed a bunch of them like at their houses, like 13, 14, 15 love bugs at their houses. And yeah, if you go out, you'll see them on the streets and stuff. They're not poisonous or anything like that, but they are a little bit of a nuisance because there's so many of them in certain areas of Seoul. So yeah, strange, huh? And love bug influx. Here we go. You see right there on the building. A rapid outbreak of love bugs. Has spread rapidly to areas across Seoul over the weekend, according to reports from authorities on Sunday. Several complaints were filed about love bugs in northwestern Seoul and Goyang Gyeonggi province. That was in 2022. That's strange. It's happening this year. I don't remember it happening last year. It says love bugs are not toxic or harmful, but they have become a nuisance following invasions of residential areas and local shops where they tend to stick to clothing and vehicles. Funny stuff. You can see they're all scattered on the floor right there. So, Val said, so annoying. An infestation of love bugs. Too much PDA. Absolutely. Makes us sick. We hate to see it. We hate to see it. Oh, man. I found out yesterday someone referred to PDA, but it was not about public display of affection. It was a condition of some sort. PDA health condition. No, not that one. There we go. Pathological demand avoidance. I don't really know much about it, but it was in relation to autism. So, and again, this is from Autism Society. Let me read about it because I honestly don't remember what it was. I just saw it online, so I was curious. Pathological demand avoidance is a profile that describes those whose main characteristic is to avoid everyday demands and expectations to an extreme extent. This section explains what a PDA profile is and the assessment process. Okay. I want to know more. Take me back. What's this real quick for going back? I don't know. Where is... Do they have more information about it? I want to have more information, but I don't see it here. Okay. It says here, all kids avoid doing things that are asked from time to time, but some go to extremes to ignore or resist anything they perceive as a demand. That pattern of behavior is called pathological demand avoidance, or PDA. Avoidance is called pathological because it interferes with their functioning at home or at school. These kids often resist doing classwork even though it's not hard for them. This makes it hard for teachers to know what they can do. Interesting. Yeah, I had just heard about this the other day on Instagram. Maybe it's the PDF on the other page, Val. Yeah, maybe so. But I think that was only, I thought the PDF was only for autism itself, not for PDA. Oh, okay, you're right, it is. I just need to click this right here. Intriguing. Yeah, it's been interesting. I have kind of, as I started to kind of question if I do have autism, I did kind of go down, been going down little bits of like rabbit holes here and there to hear more about like what other people, how other people experience it and stuff. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, let's check out some of these teasers because we didn't do it last time. Let's start off first of all with Jaye's. I don't think there's any audio on this one, but I did see it pop up on my feed the other day, so I wanted to share it. Yeah, there's no sound on it. Just Jaye, the first mini album Zone, released on August 18th. Killing me good, but as you can see, there's no audio here. Just a silent video. Very interesting. Pretty cryptic. I'm not really sure what to take for that one. I think everyone's kind of curious about what kind of sound she's going to do, but that's not giving us any hints. Looks good, though. Excited to see it. Also want to check out, yep, here we go. NewJeans is coming back, and I'm so excited. Val, are you a fan of NewJeans? I'm not sure how much you pay attention to like K-pop and stuff like that. I'd heard NewJeans' name, like a few months ago, I'd heard their name thrown around. Some people had mentioned their name, and so, well, of course, I check the K-pop news every day just to kind of stay a little bit abreast of what's going on. My habit. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that before, actually. I have a habit. Every single day I check BBC and Soompi. Those are the two places I check, like, literally every single day. Just as, like, part of a routine, just to kind of, like, keep up to date on, like, what's going on, both globally and then also, like, and then specifically within, like, the Korean entertainment sphere. So, it's been my habit for, like, the past, oh, man, how long has it been? It's legitimately been, I think, over 10 years I've been doing this, actually. But, yeah. I don't know. It's just something I do just to kind of keep up with everything. So it's true. T.O.P. is really going to be in it. How interesting. NewJeans. Okay. I don't know NewJeans. Oh, really, Val? How interesting. So they are a K-pop group. They, I think they're on some label. It's like a sub. I think they're on a sub label of Hybe, if I'm not mistaken. Adore. Yeah, so Hybe is their parent corporation, and then they're on Adore, which is their actual label. Of course, Hybe is famous for BTS. So their big success was. And then for NewJeans, they've been gaining a lot of popularity here locally and internationally as well. I don't exactly remember, like, what's the reason. Hype Boy. Hype Boy was their big one. Hype Boy was a big song for them. And then also, like, OMG and Ditto also did really well. I can't exactly explain, like, I don't really know, like, why they started gaining traction. For me, what pulled me into them, like, finally was that I did hear about, there was this video essay about their video Ditto. NewJeans Ditto video essay. And it made me really curious because like there's this really deep, it's called The Darkness of Ditto. NewJeans Ditto will change how you see K-pop forever. And there's a really interesting video essay about the music video because it covers one of my favorite subjects, which is parasocial relationships. And that's the way that they interpret the music video.
Ditto.
Obviously, it can be interpreted in different ways, but the video itself, I'm going to play a few clips because it's kind of cool. The video itself kind of takes us through the life of like these school kids, and there's this one girl who's always capturing it like on camera. She's always recording like what's going on and everything. And then at some point, you start to realize that like she's not actually friends with any of them. She's just like imagining that she's friends with these people, as in like it's like her ideal life is to be there with them recording. But at some point you find out she's not actually there in reality. She's just imagining that if she was friends with them. And so it kind of pieces together the story that she's like this loner at school and doesn't really have any friends, and she lives in her imagination and stuff like that. From what I recall, the video doesn't have a clear ending. It just kind of like, because there's also this love interest as well, and you're not really, and it could either, and like the question is like whether he really cares about her or if it's like a fake fantasy as well. But to me, like what the video essay pointed out was that he felt like the idol group, NewJeans in the video, was like her fantasy where she wanted to be a part of them, and the boyfriend was like the reality that she could go for if she stopped living in the fantasy. That was how the video essay interpreted it. But it was a really cool concept. It made me really intrigued, and they have great music. So after that kind of that video essay, I was like, yeah, this is really cool. They also have a lot of news because they're quite young. I think almost all the members are underage. I think. Is that how you like? How would you say that? Like they're all under 18. I guess it sounds strange to say underage, but what I mean is like most of the members are like under 18. Yeah, it says here their ages range from 14 to 18 years old when they debuted in 2022. So yeah, and so that doesn't sit well with everyone. Some people are okay with it. Some people kind of don't know if that's okay. There's a lot of discussion over like when idols should be debuting and at what age and everything. So they're also super young, but they're also getting a lot of attention and stuff. Oh, there's also a trending video for them. There was like this internet joke where the boy is chasing the girl down the street and like, hey, what are you listening to? And she's like, I'm listening to NewJeans, and that went viral in Korea. So that also got a lot of hype for people in Korea as well. All right, so here's their new teaser, and I have seen it already, but it's worth a rewatch. So let's check it out one more time. NewJeans ASAP teaser. Here we go. They went all blonde for this one. That's like that always happens in K-pop. There's always going to be the blonde era for most groups. They have at least one member is going to go blonde. This, of course, all of them went blonde, but it looks like it's some kind of fairy concept, judging by like the ears and the fashion. Definitely got to be fairy inspired. And the look is incredible, though. It does look good. Amazing. That's definitely like wallpaper material right there. Awesome. Low-key gives me a little bit of like G-Friend vibes. G-Friend was always doing stuff out in nature. And that right here, like this is the NewJeans sound right here, like that tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Like they're always doing quirky things like that. It's not something that's like major, like in your face, like, yo, this is iconic. It's more like this low-key, like, oh, that's kind of fun. Well, that's kind of interesting. Oh, I love it. That 808, boom, boom. And then, of course, the vibraphone on top. Oh, dude. Oh, shit. What up? Yo, Jihyun. Jihyun is here. White Cloud. Jihyun is the biggest NewJeans fan. Oh, man. Of course you're here, Jihyun. Jihyun is one of my former students. Jihyun made a promise that if every student in our class got a 99 on their presentations, he would dance to their song Hype Boy. But Jihyun had a secret he didn't tell us. Jihyun was quitting academy, and so on the last day when the last student was doing their presentation, he was like, by the way, today's my last day. And he literally raced out of the academy out into the street and left us forever. Man, Chihyun, I'm still angry about that, Chihyun. The funny thing is that every student in the class did get a 99. And so on the last day, like, we filmed a video in the classroom and we were like, Chihyun, we all got 99s. You have to do the dance. So Chihyun, I'm going to find you and you're going to do the dance because you promised, bro. You promised. Chihyun has to do it. We're still looking forward to that. We are. Dude, you're doing it. You're doing it, Chihyun. You promised us. He, like Val, he literally raced out of that classroom. He raced out of that classroom so fast. And he was like, bye. And like, he just ran off. Oh, man. I'm leaving Korea in October, Chihyun, in October. So let's meet before I leave, okay? Let's make a plan with all of... Yeah, because you have friends that are still my students, I think, right? Yeah, because, yeah, we need to make a plan with Jaye. We got to make a plan with Jaye. Like, let's go to the park and play basketball on the weekend. Jaye was going to make a plan with you. I think you didn't answer his message, maybe? But I'll message you at DM. We can make a plan. Let's go with Jaye. Yep, let's go play basketball with Jaye. Man, that green lighting there is also so cool. Makes it a little bit haunting. Classic NewJeans sound. Don't be lazy. Oh man, so good. So good. Alright, bye Chihyun. So dance video debuts in November. Right, Val? Right, that's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. This one I have not seen yet. Oh, nice. Cool. That one's dope. I had not seen that one. I like the drum and bass breakbeat. Yo, Chi. Oh, Chi's gone already. Starring NewJeans, Eva, Mikkel, and Maria? Who are they? And this one right here. They have an official collaboration with Powerpuff Girls, which is super cool. Just for a minute. Man, it's gonna be so awesome. I love that one. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, that teaser looks amazing. Super cool stuff. Are you into any K-pop at all? Val, do you watch any? Do you listen to any K-pop artist? Let me grab. I'm gonna send a link real quick to some other people just to see if they want to jump on. Looks like an interesting article. Val, I'll have to read that one. Actually, I can read it on the live stream right now. I'll pull it up. Sent a link to Cora just now in case she wants to join. Jules is probably asleep. I'll send it to her as well, though. Yeah. Here we go. Wait, who's this? Is this? Let's go! Valerie's here. Hell yeah. Yo, yo, yo. Valerie, you there?
Yeah.
Perfect. Wait, it's a little bit quiet. I'm not sure if it's on... Is that on me or is that on yours?
So I didn't move the little microphone.
Say again? Say again?
I didn't move the microphone because I have one of those work headsets.
Oh, what a boss. Val's out here with the woke headset, like, taking calls.
I look like an air traffic controller. Hold on.
I have... Let's see.
Let's see.
Man... Val, you pull that look off. You seriously pull that look off. You do.
Thanks.
You pull it off. You look amazing with that. One of my students wants to be that, actually. His dream was to be an air traffic controller.
Mm.
He would go to, I'm sure he still does too. He would go to the Incheon airport, the Gimpo airport, and just like hang out there for like 5 hours taking pictures of all the airplanes. And then like he'll make blog posts about like which one this is and that one, the history of them all, like, where do they go and all that kind of stuff. It was insane.
I think it's amazing that there's people like that like like from the go, they just like, I want to do that. And
It's
then it's like a
impressive, right?
random thing. Like, it's not like I want to be a doctor. It's like air
Very
traffic
specific.
control.
Very specific. Yeah. He's an interesting kid. He even got to when he was younger, he got to meet David Beckham, the soccer player.
Oh, nice.
And so he in one class he showed me a picture on the internet of him hanging out with David Beckham because yeah, he got to meet him and hang out with him. Yeah.
David Beckham years ago when I first heard his voice,
Yeah.
because I had never seen like an interview like years ago, and then when I first heard him talking, I'm like, that's his voice.
I've I've never heard have I heard his voice? Doesn't he just
I don't,
I'm gonna
he
look it
doesn't.
up right
I
now.
mean,
Now I'm curious.
that's
What
one of those memories that sticks out. I'm like, oh, he was always so cute, but then I heard his voice, and I'm like,
really? What does it sound like?
I don't know. It just doesn't sound like what I expected
Okay,
at the
I am
time.
so curious now. Okay, here we go.
Doing great. We've
Oh, yeah.
actually just come back from a ski trip, which was nice, which we try to do annually.
Oh.
But I found that actually you get to a certain age and you obviously just try to compete, especially when I've got young sons.
I don't know.
And
I can't hear the video. I'm
Oh,
guessing
really?
you can.
I can
Yeah,
hear it.
that's
So
weird.
let me do. Okay, let me change my. Hang on. Let me share the audio. Share screen. Share sound. Share. And
tried to compete with
you hear
them,
that?
and there was one run where we were on this
Okay.
little run, and I thought
And you
I'm
don't
gonna
like
try
it?
a few things,
Sure.
as you do. So
How
my son,
interesting.
my 15-year-old son went first, and then
And
I
it's
got
not
someone.
the accent, because I'm used to that.
No, it's okay.
I'm
It's all right,
used
Val.
to the different
No, it's fine. I
accents.
understand. It's the British accent. Maybe it's the. Huh, how interesting.
It's for some reason it was just like the tone.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
That is so interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. London accent with Cockney features. It says specifically. Grew up in northeast London.
Yeah, it's literally not the accent, because like I said, I mean, I grew up listening to that accent as a kid.
Right. No, I just know that there's
But
different. I've heard anyway that like there's different types of British accents. Even like
hmm
within England, there's different
Oh
areas and
yeah.
such. So
I just really think it has to do with the tone of his voice.
yeah, got it.
It was like softer than I
Than you expected. So. Oh my gosh.
Suddenly he
Okay.
wasn't so hot anymore.
That is so interesting. Okay, this is like I'm okay, whatever, fuck it. Like this is definitely like wild in thoughts, but like okay, all right. Like I want to give context so it doesn't sound creepy. I was on call with like my mom and my family like earlier. I call them every morning, right? And so my brother asked me about the Barbie movie, and because he knows I'm a huge fan of Ryan Gosling, right? Me and Zay
Okay.
both we adore Ryan Gosling. We think he's amazing. I first of all I respect him because of his movie choices. I think the way he chooses his roles is very very interesting. He always chooses like very specific roles. It's not just like any movie. It's usually like a nod to like classic films. He's done stuff like 1940s inspired, 1970s, 1980s. Like he always has like retro kind of inspired roles, and I respect that a lot. Secondly, he's hot as hell. He's a sexy hunk of a man. But for some reason, like after we had like talked about that in the call, I was like thinking, I was like, I wonder if he's a bottom. Just okay, and here's why. Here's why. Okay, not that it's relevant, not that I need to know, not that it's important or anything. This is just like it popped in my head, just because his role, like he, on the internet, everyone associates him with like the Sigma male type appearance, based on movies like Drive or Only God Forgives, where he plays that kind of like stoic guy who's quiet, doesn't say much kind of role. But like, I feel like, again, totally parasocial based on just like on my own perception. With the amount of range he has as an actor, he's also done some like, The Notebook, La La Land. So I almost feel like even though he gets typecast on the internet as like the Sigma male, I kind of wonder like if he's actually like not like that in terms of like his sexuality. I don't, and again, none of my business, it doesn't matter, but I'm just like, I can kind of imagine he might be more of like a softie. I don't know. Thoughts?
No, I mean, I think he's definitely. I could see him definitely being one who's willing to explore all aspects.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
I don't think he wouldn't be one of those like, no.
Exactly, Val. Thank you. Because I mean, I think he's probably a switch. In my guess, he's probably a switch, which is why I feel like he'd be totally okay with being that kind of like more submissive rather than more dominating. Which I feel people would probably say, oh, he's definitely a dom, but I feel like he probably has some
Hmm.
sub tendencies, maybe in my own
And
guess.
and that Ken look, you
Uh
know.
huh. It's helping things. It's giving. It's giving sub, and I'm here for it. I am here for it. Any so there's been a all right, Val, who should we do next? We're gonna start playing Who's the Bottom. Have you heard about the conversation around the Barbie movie at all, Val? Have you kept up with any of the news stories on it?
No, I mean
Okay, so
I
basically
vaguely know
there's
that it's
some Mhm.
more interesting than the first
Right.
trailer.
That's like the debate. The debate is like what kind of movie it's gonna be because I've kept it like all very low key, not really giving a lot of details on it. So people are wondering like what kind of film it's gonna be. I assume just because it's Ryan Gosling and because of the way they're kind of approaching it with keeping it secretive, I feel like there's gonna be some kind of twist where it's like deeper than it would be normally. Because if you look at it from the outside, it's like, oh, that's just gonna be some kind of random fun summer movie about Barbie, and I don't feel like that's gonna be the case. Mostly because Ryan
Well,
Gosling's in it, but yeah.
they've already implied like there was the first trailer that was very
Mm-hmm.
Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you just think it's like who's watching this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then now they've put out a longer trailer or a more
Yes. Uh-huh.
detailed trailer where you realize that she's going on a journey of some sort of
Right?
self-discovery.
Yeah, exactly. There's like that road trip element to it. It looks like there's gonna be like a road trip element
Hmm.
to it. My younger brother.
You know what it makes me think of?
What?
What's the movie? You know, it literally just came to mind. It's reminding me of Pleasantville.
Pleasantville. Okay. I don't
You
think
know,
I've heard of it, but I
where
don't know about what it is actually about.
so the
Okay.
gist of it is they're in a 1950s TV
Oh.
show.
Okay.
So
Got
it's
it.
like very fake and like,
Yeah.
oh, hi, good morning,
Everything's
sir.
happy on the surface. Yeah.
But it's black and white. And as she goes through this process of self-discovery,
Mm-hmm.
suddenly color starts popping up on in
Mm.
nature, and then people become colorized. So what's coming to mind for me is like there's this very fake
Vibrant,
plastic
colorful,
Barbie
plastic.
world,
Yeah. Yeah.
and now she's gonna go to the real world, and what happens to her? You know,
Got it.
like
Mm-hmm.
Pinocchio.
Yep.
Does she become a real boy?
Got it. Yeah, it's starring
I
Tobey
don't want to be
Maguire's.
plastic anymore.
I was going to be plastic. What's the catch? Like, what does she have to do to become a real human, though? I wonder. What's the catch?
Well,
How
and then
interesting.
now I'm thinking, it's like, do you really want to become me?
Yeah. The pros and cons, right? There's pros and cons. The worst part about being
Like,
human is having to be ethical. That's the hardest part.
there's no racism in Barbie world.
Well, I mean, like, and that also, I mean, the very fact about what Barbie signifies and everything is like, clearly no one's going to touch it in this day and age unless you're going to be making a statement that's more inclusive and more diverse than like,
Well, the director alone, I can't think of her name.
mhm. I'll pull it up real quick.
Greta Gerwig.
Okay, yes.
Um, she's not. I don't think she's somebody who's doing something without some sort of a statement.
I don't think so either. Yeah, Little Women, Barbie, Lady Bird, No Strings Attached. Oh, she did No Strings Attached. How interesting. That was a interesting movie. Just a
Well, we all have to start somewhere.
Oh no, I mean like it's I was just thinking back to it because there was two movies that were like for that era of like rom-coms. There was No
They're
Strings
the
Attached
same.
and then
Yeah,
Friends with
the
Benefits
other
was the other
one.
one I think it was called. Yeah.
Something,
I
whatever.
enjoyed that one more than No Strings Attached, but No Strings Attached was okay as well. I mean, it wasn't bad. Obviously it's just a rom-com, like, you know, you get what you get in for, but yeah. Have you seen it before, Val?
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of the main
saw them
actor
both.
though. Yeah. This one was a little bit fun because it felt like the pacing was better, I think, on this one.
Mm.
So it felt like the movie kind of like flew. Well, wait, 49 minutes? Is that real? Maybe that's why it felt like it was better to watch because it flew right by. Well, there we go. Short attention span for the win. Just like I was just been watching it. Like the pacing was a lot faster, which obviously makes sense, and so it was easy to sit down and enjoy. It wasn't like you had to strap in and get everything and like sit there for a long time. It's just like, no, here's a fun little romance comedy. Like nothing serious to it. Just enjoy it, you know. Yeah, but interesting. So yeah, are you looking forward to Barbie or not at all?
I'm not in a rush to watch it.
Okay.
I'll wait for it to show up somewhere where I don't have to pay for it.
Good way to put it. I want to find. He made some interesting comments about playing the character, and I'm gonna try to find him. Okay. I hate when you see stuff on Twitter and then you can't find it anywhere else. Because you're like, were they lying to me or is it real? Yeah, here we go. This is what I was looking for. Okay.
Oh yeah, that he's too old.
Not that part. Is more of like people didn't care about Ken was the part that was interesting to me. I would say, you know, people don't want to play with my kin. There are many other kins to play with, he told the outlet. It's funny, this kind of clutching your pearls idea of like, not my kin. Like, you ever thought about kin before this? But then suddenly it's like, no, we cared about kin the whole time. No, you didn't. You never did. You never cared. Barbie never fucked with kin, he said. That's the point. If you ever really cared about kin, you would know that nobody cared about kin. So your hypocrisy is exposed. This is why his story must be told. Which, like, from anyone else, that would come off as, like, very douchebag, like, dude, what are you talking about? But I trust Ryan. I feel like there's a reason he chose to play this role. So I could be completely wrong, because it does sound like a very, you know, douchebag type of thing to say. But I feel like I said, he chooses his roles pretty carefully. I feel like there's a reason he said that. There must be some kind of twist to the character he wants to portray. So.
But again, it's funny that like it literally this Pleasantville analogy, like just based on the little clips that I've seen of Barbie, I almost feel like even his character goes through a similar situation as the male character in Pleasantville, because the male character in Pleasantville is also this very dumb jock kind of, you know, like, and as he evolves, it's suddenly like, oh, like, so you know, like now I'm sort of interested to compare it.
Yeah, exactly.
To see what
okay, so
comes
Val,
out of
you've got to make like a whole like 2-hour video essay. These are the parallels between Pleasantville and Barbie. Get strapped in. You're gonna learn something.
Decades apart.
There's also the other famous one that's in that same kind of vibe is the oh man, the Truman Show. The Truman Show as well. Somewhat in the same kind of vein as well. What did you think about the Truman Show?
Well, especially for Truman, because everybody else was in on the game.
Yeah, of course, exactly.
No, it was a good film.
It's one of those movies that like I never watched until I came to Korea because like I feel like there's certain movies in Korea that have like a cult following here that aren't. I want to say they're not as notable in like the States, but I could be wrong on that. I don't really know. I just did like once I came to Korea, there's certain films that people always talk about, and I'm like, okay, yeah, and like I'll check it out because people talk about it all the time.
That's interesting. You know, probably how they stand out in comparison to other.
There's
US
a few.
films.
So the ones I'm thinking of right now, at the top of my head, there's the one about the romance on the train when they're like on a train trip through Europe and they fall in love.
Oh, before sunrise.
Yeah, before sunrise. And that one, like, I'm gonna be generalizing here, but like, there's like probably 60 or 70% of people in Korea love this film, or they talk about it. Like, this is a big one here.
Yeah, the original was great. The second one was okay, and then the third one was eh. Okay. But it was nice to see their story throughout the different movies. Is
there any film that you like the sequel or prequel better than the original, Val? Because I don't know if it's a hot take, but for me, like, Karate Kid's a great example of this. Obviously, the original Karate Kid's a classic, like, no debating that. But for me, I really loved the second one, and I thought the third one was, like, phenomenal. And most people, obviously, they kind of like, they're like, oh, yeah, those are whatever. But no, for me, like, the second one and the third one are probably better than the original. Just for me. I know that's like most people would say, that's blasphemy. But for me, the second and third one are amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the third one being amazing. I mean, I don't have complaints about the second one.
Mm. I like the second one because
Um,
like going back to Okinawa was like such a cool choice to do, and then like
hmm
the whole love story and everything was amazing. With Kumiko was her
hmm
name. And also I only watched the first season, the Cobra Kai. They brought it back for
Yeah, I
Cobra
haven't
Kai.
watched it.
I
Yeah.
watched the first season and I was I'm really happy because obviously Karate Kid was like my childhood, and so it's really cool to see it come back and be received in a great way. And
hmm
but they something really cool they did, and I think the third season of Cobra Kai is that they brought back the same actress from the second movie, and they had a whole like reunion and everything. And I thought that was so cool for them to do it again. I didn't watch the series, so I
Well,
didn't really get it pulled into it. But
yeah,
yeah,
apparently for Cobra Kai, they've done a good job of
right.
like bringing in the
Yep.
actors
I
and,
think that's why
threading
because
the
everyone's so
stories
involved.
together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because they're so involved. I think that's why it's done so well. It's pretty amazing to see. 40 years
But
on.
I can't think of any sequels right now off the top of my head.
You can say Grease too. It's okay, Val. Grease too. It's fine if you want to.
I mean, I do love Grease 1 and Grease 2.
Really? I've never seen Grease 2. I heard it was horrible. Is it not that bad?
I mean, I mean, if you take it's, I think also it's like if you're a super critic,
Mm-hmm.
like, but if you like the songs and dance,
Uh-huh.
like,
Uh-huh.
I think, I think for me, it's just a purely sort of like entertainment thing. Like,
Sure.
I don't sit there and judge plot
Overanalyze
and,
and question why
yeah,
they did
like,
this or
I'm like,
that.
did I have fun? Did I like the songs? I mean,
Okay.
I think there's one or two songs that are like, you could
Could have been better. Okay.
have.
How interesting.
But
I might have to give it a watch. It says here a few ones here. The Dark Knight. Okay, that's a good one. Yeah.
yeah, Dark Knight. Yeah,
I mean
yeah.
with Heath Ledger.
You could see some of those newer, yeah, some of those.
Spider-Man 2. That one was definitely like more relevant. I don't know that I've ever sat down and watched it, but I definitely you hear people talk about Spider-Man 2 way more than the first one. Top Gun Maverick. Gosh, I wanted to watch that so bad, and I never made time to see it at the theaters. I'll have to watch it somewhere
It's
for
on
free,
Prime.
as you say. Is it on Prime? Okay. Did you see it, Val?
Yeah, I saw it. It was. I didn't want to watch it actually, and my mom
Really?
wanted to watch it,
Why not?
and so
You didn't want to ruin the
I just,
original, or just wasn't
I
interested?
just didn't. I don't care for Tom Cruise right now.
Oh, okay, I see.
Whatever.
I see.
Like, how many Mission Impossibles can you pull out?
Mm.
Um, um,
He's
and it wasn't
yeah.
bad. It was a good ode to the original.
Okay.
I mean, again, maybe plot wise, it's a little like, what can you do
Flimsy
with
or
a
okay.
what can you do with a movie about,
Mm-hmm.
you know, fighter pilots? They gotta go up in the air for some reason.
Val's gonna start deconstructing every movie. Like, what are you gonna do with a romance movie? Person A meets person B, they fall in love at the end.
I mean, that's like every K-drama.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I gave my kids a PPT topic this month, which was change the ending. So I had them choose like 1 to 3 different. It could be a video game, a TV show, a movie, a book, whatever. And I told them to change the ending of it to explain why they don't like the original ending and how they would change the ending of it. So it's been fun to see. Mostly the kids have fallen into two categories: the ones who change the like a sad ending to like a happy one, and the kids who change like a happy ending to a sad one. And so that's been the two sides where they were like, no, I wish everyone would have died, or I wish this person would have died instead. And the other people who were like, no, it was too serious. It should have been more happy-go-lucky. So it's been interesting to see. What film would you change, Mel?
What film would I change?
Or TV show or book? It could really be anything.
Hmm.
I was inspired to do it because like there was so many series such as like Game of Thrones, which I didn't watch, but like everyone talked about how bad the last season was. Like and it was
Oh
like
yeah, I
all over
heard
the
about
internet.
that.
Yeah, and so I was like, oh yeah, there's some of the series like that where the ending is, or another one would be again like an anime I haven't seen, but Tokyo Revengers was like really popular, and then everyone said the ending was a complete mess, where there was like they pulled time travel into it, and it was just really strange ending basically. So I was just curious, like for them, like what the kids would choose for series they didn't like.
I think a lot of movies it would be interesting to see to just have the character take the opposite choice of
Yeah.
whatever that final thing is. Like, you know, like the director's cut gives us two options.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
And just be like, okay, character A goes left, and then the other one, character A goes right, like what happened?
That's gonna become the iconic thing for I'm forget his name. Who's the guy that does like the DC movies nowadays? Famous director. Super famous guy. I always forget his name. Zack Snyder. That's what it is. Zack Snyder. It's gonna become Zack Snyder's signature nowadays, isn't it? Because like they release his movies and then he'll release like the Zack Snyder extended cut. He's done it, I think, like a few times throughout his career, and his version always gets a lot more love than like the original ones do.
I haven't seen any of those kind of things.
I haven't seen too much as well. It's just like more of headlines. There was one film from a long time ago. What was it called? I want to find it. It's one of those kind of Sucker Punch. Yeah, like he did it with Sucker Punch, where there was like the regular version and then like his extended cut. And so yeah, it's kind of like you said. Like I'm not sure how much control they have over what gets released and what doesn't, but it would be interesting if you could choose.
They have people sit and watch, and they do like what is it like panels sometimes, and based on like the feedback, I think is what they do.
Okay, I mean like before they release the movie to see like how people respond to it and stuff. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah. It's so funny that they do that.
I mean, I don't know how true that is and how often and all that stuff, but I feel like I've heard that they've
No,
done
they
that
yeah, you're right.
before.
They do it, and the amount of what gets changed is the questionable part because it kind of depends. But there's been a few times with Disney movies where I recall reading that like Disney would make changes because like the parents objected to this or to that. But it is kind of interesting. I wonder, like, do you think that's necessary or like not necessary? Because I kind of feel like, because to me, it almost feels like too much of an invasion of business over artisticness, right? Like to have like just to say like, oh, the audiences didn't like this, so it's gonna lose us money, so we better change the ending. It's almost
Well,
like,
yeah, but that's what Hollywood is, right?
yeah,
It's not about the art.
it's not about the art. Hollywood, it's not about the art.
I mean, there are areas for that. There's, whatever, like Sundance and
Yep. Film
Cannes
festivals.
and all
Yep.
those. There's little pockets of like, that's what the director and the writer wanted, and
Correct.
and you get to watch that on some obscure website, or some,
Yeah, it's right. I mean, it's you kind of gotta choose which way you want to, where you want to excel at, and where you want to kind of put your base at to do what you want to do with stuff. Yeah,
Hollywood's objective is make money.
correct.
And
It's
that's why they're constantly just churning out, Superman, Batman, Marvel.
well, I mean, like I was talking about again with my brother when we were having the conversation about Barbie. It's like like when is stuff gonna change? Because I think no one's been happy with the new string of Marvel films, and so like you pull up MCU films, and then their gross profit. Because I think here we go. Because I saw a few images where they were comparing like prices, and obviously it's been like going down over time, which, yeah, I mean that kind of makes sense, obviously, but just like wondering when they're going to make a change because it's clear that people are kind of unhappy with whatever formula they're using.
Well, I think it's also like, I mean, I think you also get used to certain actors doing certain roles. So then when you suddenly lose a bunch of actors or they've killed a character or whatever's happened,
There's like an adjustment period, I guess.
I guess. Like, I mean, I don't think they're replacing anybody. They're just bringing in the newer characters and giving them a chance. But
For some of them, but this is still I mean, like, one example would be, like, the new, well, okay, so we'll take two, Ant-Man and then Thor, which they haven't changed at all, the exact same actors, but, like, as far as advertising, like, those movies definitely did not do well in the public eye. There's, like, the new Ant-Man and the Quantum Mania. Yeah, and, like, this movie kind of, like, fizzled out big time. I didn't even watch it, but like all the reviews were like quite low from what I heard. So made 476 to the box office, so it doesn't seem to be too bad. Budget of 200 million. But I just feel like it got a little bit too formulaic, I think, with their with a lot of their films recently. Another one would be Thor, because Thor and Love and Thunder was like, yeah. And again, of course, same actors, but this one also kind of flew under the radar. No, it made 760. I guess I'm wrong. I'm thinking more in terms of like what audience reactions have been, but I guess as far as numbers, I guess it's doing fine. So maybe they don't need to change anything. Maybe not. Continue. Continue. Squid Game's coming back for season 2. What do you think about that, Val? Interested or not?
I only watched the first one because everybody was
talking about it. I didn't watch it at all. I only watched like a summary, I think, on YouTube. So for you having watched it, do you think it lived up to the hype or not at all?
I like. Okay, there were two kinds of hypes, right? Like there was this hype about it being this Korean show
Phenomenon.
that was taking the world by storm.
Sure. Got it.
And I was already into the K-drama
so it's
world.
Like, yeah.
So I was like, I'm like,
not a big deal to me. I already
kind of
knew.
About.
Yeah. Like, there's better things available, guys.
And then it was very bloody.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I get why, but I was just like, eh. So
like
I mean, I'll
movie.
watch Squid Game 2 because of the way it ended, the first one, because now it's like, okay, what happens next?
Right.
But yeah, I don't like.
Not like
it's not one of those that was like, yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like maybe that genre of like making humans do horrible things.
It's not your cup
or
of
a
tea.
game, like Saw, like like
Yep.
what are you willing to do to survive? Kind of. I don't know. Like, maybe it's like just not my top choice. I mean, I'll be interested in some of the cast.
What's that? I've got the classic one. No one does those movies better than Japan. Japan does those movies the best. What's that movie called? The classic one. Japanese survival film. Battle Royale. There we go. Yeah.
I've heard the name, but I've never watched it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not into like survival movies, then don't. But like, as far as survival movies go, I think, oh man, Japan has such a great track record of making fantastic like survival movies and stuff like that. Also, I don't know.
I remember having. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say that for some reason, I don't know why, but like I was talking about it with my Japanese student in class like the other day. I was like, for some reason, Japanese movies like they really do make you feel like fearful or scared. I think more so than a lot of the Western films I've watched. And she agreed. She was like, for some reason, like they're still scary, even if you know they're fake or whatever. Like there's something about the atmosphere that the directors can create that kind of make you feel like, ugh, like, oh, you got me on that one.
I think it was on Clubhouse that we were talking about Squid Game.
Yeah.
And you had brought up the Japanese shows being better. So, I mean...
Just in my experience, they have been anyway.
Whoops. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Alice in Borderland was another one. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched the breakdown on YouTube.
Yeah, that was the one that you guys mentioned.
Yeah.
Because there's some other people in that chat.
I remember that night. Yeah. Yep.
Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see if Squid Game 2 lives up to the hype.
You can't judge it before it's out there. So, yeah, we'll see what goes on. Let's check out the cat. But it's interesting that T.O.P. is going to be here. That's pretty interesting. Is that...
I don't know who he is.
Big Bang. He's from Big Bang. Big Bang, formerly from Big Bang. Not anymore. He's no longer in the group. But, yeah, he was...
Back to the original reason I got on, which was like, do I listen to K-pop?
Oh, exactly.
It's like
Obviously
yes
not.
And no. Like, I don't really, I listen to Korean music, but I kind of like the low-key sort of like cafe music sound.
Okay. K-folk or K-indie stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of K-pop groups or songs
Sure.
I'll like,
Mm-hmm.
but if you ask me to like name who sings, I don't know.
Got it. Okay.
Like I think there's like one BTS song in my like likes.
It's it's interesting, isn't it? I was playing chess the other day, and I matched with some random user from Iran, and she saw that my flag says Korea because I'm here, and like her first message was like, "I love you." And I was like, "Okay, I'm not Korean, by the way. I'm just living here." And then I asked her because she's like, "Do you know K drama?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course I know K drama. I live in Korea." And I was like, "What K-pop singers do you like?" And she was like, "What's K-pop?" And I was like, huh? Like, wait, you know K-dramas but not K-pop? Really? Like, she legit did not know what K-pop was. I was like, okay. Like, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's like I know who it is. I mean, I know what it is, but
Yeah, but not really deep
and
into it.
you can say some names and I'll be like, okay, that's a K-pop group,
Sure.
but I will
It
not know
ends
what
there.
song.
Yeah, okay.
And I will not know what the people look like
Okay.
or their names.
Says here, first script reading, production team with director Hwang Dong-hyuk, and the protagonist of Squid Game 2. So returning cast members Lee Jung-jae, Lee Byung-hyun, Lee Ha-jun, and then new cast members Im Shi-won. Okay, nice. Jaye.
Which is the guy in the white shirt on the
Correct.
top
Yep,
row
right here.
there.
I know him from K-pop. You guys, everyone else probably
I
knows him
know
from,
him as an actor.
as actors. Yeah, he was in a boy group called Jaye a long, long time ago. They're probably disbanded by now. Kang Hanul, Park Sung-hoon. Park Sung-hoon, that name sounds familiar. Young Dong-gun, and then new ones, Park Gyu-young. It is Jo Yuri. I thought so. I thought it was her. Again, K-pop. She's from PD48, the K-pop like survival show that Aijwan that was formed by. So she was on that. And then who else we got? Won Jian and T.O.P. and Lee Jun-wook, and then a couple other people as well.
Lee Jun-wook is the one on the bottom right there.
Bottom right.
Yeah.
Oh, this side?
Yeah.
This guy? Okay.
Yep.
Hot.
Oh no, like I fell in love with him because I saw like a movie, a Korean movie called Beauty Inside, which apparently was also a drama at some point.
Okay.
I don't know which one came first. And he was in it, and he looked like the dashing gentleman.
Until you heard his voice.
His voice was fine.
Okay.
But I was like, who is that?
How
He
interesting.
looks so
Okay.
sophisticated in that film.
Yeah, I like his. I like him with the facial hair. 1991, 185 centimeters. Cool. Played in a few other stuff. Let's see what we have here. Sweet Home.
Wait, see if you find it Beauty Inside, like images from Beauty Inside.
Okay, I'm gonna check his other stuff
Like-
real quick. Sweet.
Mm,
Turn. Okay. And then Beauty Inside.
I think that's what it was called.
Yep, there it is. 2015.
And
Romance drama.
yeah, one of those images.
Let's go. Let's see him. All right. Yeah. Let's watch the trailer. I'm gonna see the trailer actually. Let's pull up the trailer. It's right here.
He's only in it for a short little bit.
내 친구가 하나 있는데
Enough to
얘가
fall in love.
자고만 일어나면 얼굴이 막 바뀌어. 남자로 일어났다 여자로 일어났다 할아버지로 일어났다가 막 할머니로 일어나고 막 그런다니까.
어제는
Wait, what?
손바닥이 얼굴보다 컸는데 오늘은 얼굴이 반이나 크네. 나는 자고 일어나면 모습이 변한다.
Wait, there's like a body switching kind of thing?
이 의자는 좀 아쉬울
The
것 같아.
character every morning well, not every morning, but
잠깐만.
wakes up in a different body.
그쪽이랑 같이 밥 먹고 싶어서.
And there's Park
뭔
Seo-joon.
오늘 만났던 여자를 내일도 다음 주도 다음 달도 만날 수 있다는 건 내게는 기적 같은 일이었다.
오늘 좀 불편하게 생겼지?
근데 어떤 모습일 때가 제일 싫어?
이수야,
반말 하지 말아줄래? 계속 오늘 같으면 좋겠다. 너도 지금 모습 그대로,
Oh,
나도 지금
Keanu.
이대로.
이수야. 우리 결혼할까?
Lee
Lee Dong-wook.
What's
That's
his
yeah,
name?
Dong-wook, right?
Yeah.
Damn, they got everyone for this movie.
No, a lot of
Famous actors, too.
big names. I didn't know who they were because that was one of the first movies I saw.
Got it.
사랑 때문에 모든 걸 망치기도 한다.
Is that him right there, Val? Let's go back real quick. I think I saw him.
사랑 때문에 모든 걸
Oh my gosh, so manly. Good choice.
망치기도 한다.
하루가 너무 짧아.
That's him right there, isn't it?
No,
No?
they had him earlier.
Was he earlier? Okay.
There he is.
Okay, right there. Got it. He looks a little bit like...
긴 건가?
Yeah, very attractive. Very attractive. What an interesting movie.
It poses an interesting question, who is
What is
person.
love? Who is a person? Okay.
it's complicated. Like, what is love?
What is love? Yeah.
And
What is identity?
what is identity?
Did you like the conclusion to the film? Like, did it have like a satisfying ending to it?
I think so. I think it was.
Was it one of those kind of vague endings where it like doesn't say it specifically, or?
I think it's like a bittersweet is the way I would put it. Like, I
Okay.
think it is it's a happy ending, but it's still like bittersweet, because I don't want to give anything away for anybody who hasn't watched it. So
It's 2015. It's not a problem.
it doesn't matter.
How does it end?
To
That's
be
true.
honest.
There's something like I watched like 30 years after they came out.
Either way, I liked it. I think it was a sweet movie.
That's
And
fun.
again, it has like all the actors.
I saw
in
that.
it,
There was a
like,
lot of people in there.
all the actors.
You know what's
And
interesting?
again,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, you go first.
No, I was just gonna say when I watched it, I didn't know who half these people were.
Okay, so that's what I was gonna that's what I was gonna ask about actually. I think it's so interesting how like at what point you get into something, right? Because people always wonder like how to get people into this or into that. Or here's my new hobby. How do I get people to get into it? And I was thinking about it for myself how with specifically with I'll go with Jujutsu Kaisen because I love this series, the Japanese manga series I talk about a lot. The thing about Jujutsu Kaisen was that I had heard about the name, but it wasn't until like several months after hearing about the name that I finally did give it a chance. So like someone on the podcast had mentioned it to me, and then another friend had talked about how well it was selling in Japan, and then like Ethan mentioned having seen a clip of it on YouTube. And finally, I think that was the final clincher for me was that EJ mentioned the scene on YouTube. So I pulled up YouTube and watched the clip. And then I was so impressed by the animation and everything. I was like, that's really interesting. And so I picked up the series and started reading it and was just totally hooked after that point. But I just think it's kind of funny because I think one mistake I kind of recognize, I don't know if it's a mistake, but people often hear about this big popular series and they go back to like chapter number 1 to start reading it or checking it, or episode number 1 to check it out, and like it doesn't stick for them. And I think that's why, is because there has to be something that makes you want to get started or something to like to look forward to in the series. Because if I'm thinking about it, there's like also the same way with people. I was talking with another person who said they tried watching One Piece, never got into it. Tried watching My Hero Academia, never got into it. And I was thinking, I was like, oh wait, maybe it's because people told you to watch it, but there was nothing you were looking forward to in the series. There was nothing that like caught your eye with the series. It's just because people told you to watch it. Because to be fair, like if you're reading, even for like Jujutsu Kaisen, if you just pick it up and start reading it, you're probably gonna lose interest unless you know like what unfolds and like what's gonna happen later in the series. Thoughts on that? I think Val has to step out for a minute, so we'll give her a minute. Shout out to our one viewer. I don't know who that is, but
Can you hear me?
yep, you know, you're good.
No?
Did your audio drop, Val? Let me check. Chat.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know why my headphones supposedly like that.
Okay. Okay, it's just an audio thing. Okay, got it. I thought someone like came in had a call to take or something. All good. But yeah, I was curious about yours, you though, about like what do you think about that? Is this like maybe your personal experience or maybe your thoughts, or have you ever got someone hooked into your K-drama cult?
No.
No. Unsuccessful.
Yeah, no, I haven't gotten anybody. But I think it's also like I've always been that person who's just been into different things.
Mm.
So I don't think most of my friends are in alignment with,
Mm-hmm.
like I was always the one watching independent films, small films.
Got it. Yeah.
Foreign films. So, and it's not even, it's just, I think in the case of like, let's say, for example, trying to get people to watch K-dramas, it's like, I think a lot of people have an aversion to watching subtitles.
It seems like it, doesn't it? It still feels that way. I think people have gotten more open-minded, but yeah, there's still some kind of, I don't know, prejudice or avoidance there for people. Definitely.
So, I don't know. I don't know what gets people into things. I think you just get hooked. You watch the right thing.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's what it is, Val. You
Yeah.
have to watch the right thing that makes you interested or curious. I don't think, for most people, I don't think you're able to just like jump into something and be like, oh yeah, this is cool. I feel like you have to see something that makes it worth your time or worth your while.
But I think, like you said, the key word there is curious.
Yeah. Captures your attention, makes you curious.
Like, how did I get into K-dramas? I mean, at first it was because before the pandemic, I was always watching foreign stuff. It just tended to be like European for the most part. And I guess because I was watching all sorts of things in different languages, Netflix decided to say, hey, you might like
Check out this.
this one. And it just happened to be one of the Korean dramas. And I was like,
Oh,
interesting.
You gave me a flashback just now, Val. When we got into, like, when me and my brothers got into K-pop back in 2012, 2011, we were also using Netflix at that time. But this was back in the day when Netflix was still sending out DVDs to your home. If anyone remembers that era. I think
When did that end?
Dude, oh my gosh, I like had talked about that in class recently, and I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. But like, yeah, at that point we started getting every single like Japanese movie they had on the DVD service to watch some of the classic like Japanese films and things like that. It's saying that triggered the flashback of like watching all sorts of old random Japanese movies in the 1990s that were on the Netflix delivery service. So funny.
I'm trying to wonder. And you suddenly made me also think of like, oh, now I remember.
What was it? What?
What I got into Sailor Moon,
Really? How?
but years ago. And I don't. And I'm trying to think. I think somebody got me into it.
Okay.
Somebody, school-wise.
Okay.
Because when did that even come out?
Oh, I mean, it was in the late 90s, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
But that's the thing too. Like it's a little different because I think when I was watching it, it was also dubbed.
1991 to 1997 for the original series, and of course the movies and TV show have been ongoing. So yeah.
Yeah, so that makes sense. Like high school for me. So then I would have watched the dubbed versions.
Okay. Yeah.
Somebody got me into it, and then there was another one. For a moment there, I was watching those sort of animes. There was another one like Blood and something.
Okay. Blood Moon?
Maybe that Blood Plus? Was it Blood
Okay.
Plus?
Let's see. That's the right. Let's see. 2005.
Yeah, it looks about right.
Immortal creatures that feed off of blood and can change their form and disguise themselves as human beings. Cool.
That one a boyfriend got me into.
Is that a red flag? Your
No.
boyfriend got you into this? And this? Okay. Yeah. Definitely gonna go on dates with him and
But the funny thing is I never like there was a gap in between, right? Like I did the Sailor Moon and then nothing, and then someone introduced me to this one and then nothing, you know?
safe search blurring is on. That's funny. That is funny. Dating thing from Reddit. Is that a red flag if guys are into like gore films? I wonder if that's a red flag. I'm sure for some people it would be.
Gore? I don't know.
Or violent. Like if what is a dating red flag? I wonder for you. Val, I think we might have covered it before. Dating red
Being
flags.
an asshole?
Being an asshole. I'm gonna pull up this Reddit thread and see what people have here. Wait. Okay, that one. And then what's a unique red flag? Let's check out this one right here. This would be interesting. What is a unique red flag you have in dating? Okay. Let me adjust my screen a little bit. Okay, here we go. What's a unique red flag you look for in dating? Excessive social media use. I don't want to do stuff just so we can take pictures. I want to do shit to do shit. 2K upvotes. That one. That's definitely contextual, I think. Depends on like what kind of excessive use they're doing.
Well, I mean, if he's not constantly just taking selfies and posting, it's like,
Yeah, I mean, it's like this part here, obviously, it's saying that just to do stuff, just to take pictures. Yeah, I get that because I feel like they're not present. But yeah, I think it's gonna be impossible for like the younger Gen Z and Gen Alpha. It's just like they kind of grew up with that, being online all the time. I used to take pictures I used to not take pictures because of living in the moment, and now that I look back at my 20s, I realize that I barely documented anything. I'm determined to capture more these days. On the flip side, interesting. Okay, tales.
well, you can take the pictures, but if you're posting it constantly on social media, it
That's
sounds
true.
like
That's true. Yeah.
there's a difference.
Yeah, right here, someone said I agree. There's definitely a nuance to this. Yeah. Down here, tales of nasty fights with previous significant others. And then I broke into his apartment and fucked his shit up. An actual quote from a girl told me once. Woo.
That's a red flag.
Yeah, that's a clear red flag. Oh man. Having opinions about everything and knowledge of nothing.
Isn't that everybody?
Yeah, right? Someone said, I feel like the older I get, the less I know. Fortunately, there's a group of people I work with who had similar opinions and yet had their own specialties. So I have no issue going to them saying, I don't know the stuff you're teaching 20-year-olds. Can you show me? And they jump in. Good way to go about it. Okay. I look at and tell my friends and younger family members to look at, how does that person laugh? What do they laugh at? How often do they laugh at something? I knew someone who was fine, but would only ever laugh at people who got hurt or embarrassed, like tripping in front of people. Nope. As an aside, I hate the phrase I love to laugh on dating profiles. Who doesn't? Who goes, ha ha ha, oh gross. That's interesting. What do you think about that, Val?
I mean, it is an interesting thing. Like, if they only laugh at at the expense of other people's pain and embarrassment.
I had
But
it
how do
also. I remember. Sorry, I was gonna say I did have. I remember my oldest brother had like an experience where he was dating someone and like they were really into practical jokes and like that didn't really vibe with him at all. And so at the
Yeah, it
end,
can be annoying.
yeah, it kind of got annoying because like he wasn't really into the way that they did practical jokes, and so yeah, they weren't compatible, broke up. I was also questioning this in the classroom with my kids because my kids have, well, I mean, I do too. I have a twisted sense of humor, no doubt about it. But they do seem to have like, I don't know if it's my influence on them or if it's been the people I've met. It's hard to gauge. But I'll just say like my kids have a very dark sense of humor. They will laugh at like dark things. And again, not judging because I do the exact same thing. So we get along. But I was just at a random contemplation moment in the classroom because I was like, some kid make a really like mean joke and I've been with them. That's like not like malicious. I've been with them forever, so we always just joke like that. But like I said out loud. I was like, why are my kids? I was like, why are you guys like this? Like, why do you guys make such dark jokes? I was like, why? Like I've heard this for years now. Like, what's going on with you guys? And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, maybe it's because, and I said it out loud. I was like, maybe it's because life in Korea is so hard. Like we have to learn to laugh at everything, because otherwise we can't cope with all the stress we deal with. They didn't really say anything to it, but I was just like wondering. I was like, maybe the conditions of the country you grow up in kind of shape your sense of humor to be, more lighthearted or more dark.
Or you're a Scorpio.
A much better answer. Much better explanation.
Just kidding.
I mean, you have to wonder. You have to wonder, right?
No, yeah, I mean, humor is a coping mechanism, right?
It is, yeah.
And what you end up finding funny may be a result of your environment.
I wonder how much culture has a role to play in it as well. Like if you look at different countries and what kind of humor is popular in the country, if there's any kind of trend there.
Well, I mean, okay, just again, like from the K-drama aspect, like
Yeah.
the amount of dark stuff and violent stuff that comes out of Korea is like interesting. I mean, and I guess
Yep.
the same thing for Japan.
Yep.
Like, they both have these zombie. They love the zombie.
Zombies and horror themed stuff.
Yeah, like, I mean, and not to, yeah.
I do
I mean,
remember
and
like
maybe
when I
there's
first got into
cultural stories.
Sure, and I remember when I first got into to Korean media, especially the movies. I was struck by like how haunting the movies are. Like they're very, very serious. And again, of course, there's also going to be lighthearted ones. But I remember a lot of the Korean films I would walk away from like feeling like, wow, that was heavy. That was like really heavy. Like some very intense, deep kind of storylines and stuff they would include in the films that kind of stuck with you or made you feel very like, I need a minute to process like all of that, like what I just watched just now.
But it's suddenly making me wonder, like, what, for example, like, what makes the United States so quote unquote hopeful?
Yeah.
Like in a lot of its stuff. Like, is it an act?
Is it an act? People say that though, right? Like people when they go to the States, they always be like, why is everyone smiling all the time? Why is everyone smiling and they're not even when they're not actually happy? Like, yeah, I've heard a lot of people complain about it. I think Europeans, but I could be wrong. But like I've seen a few people on Twitter and social media that will mention it. They'll be like, everyone looks fake happy in the States. Like, why is everyone smiling all the time?
Well, and we constantly have, like on social media, positive vibes.
True as well.
And positive thoughts.
True as well.
And I'm like, well, but my world's collapsing around me, and you want me to be positive because law of attraction?
Law of attraction. Well, I guess that's true. I mean, there's a lot of dissonance though, right? Like between, if you look at America compared to other countries, like there's a lot of things that are positive, right? Most, I think it's safe to say the majority of people, have financial stability. They have, food and shelter and all that kind of stuff. So it's almost like on paper, like you should be happy, but that's not speaking to the mental health issues or the personal issues or the discrimination and the marginalization that happens, which, like you said, like a lot of people might hide that or overlook that because they're like, no, I should be happy right now. Like everything's just okay, but it's not actually okay.
Well, and I think like, back to like Squid Game, right? I think that's one of the reasons it had so much success along with like Money Heist a little bit earlier in Spain because of the conversation that it had intertwined within the story of about like
what was it?
Well, Squid Game, it was about the social
injustice,
about the social
and inequality,
injustices that are happening.
Yeah.
Like, that this character has like they're doing this game because the end result is this big pot of money,
right?
And everybody is struggling in one way or another. All these characters are there because they've been struggling, and then it's at the same time it's at the exploitation of rich people. They're in this game because rich people are exploiting these people.
Right, exactly.
So like,
yeah.
So it's like, I think that was another reason that it went over so well around the world was because, it's like, at least having this conversation in a gruesome way and not trying to like
Yeah. Barbieify it. Throw back to the earlier conversation.
exactly live in Pleasantville. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
so,
That's true.
so maybe that's why like they put out all these things and it has an appeal to other parts of the world because it's like
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it was a big appeal for me and my brothers as well getting into it because when we were getting into like K-pop and Korean media, we were just kind of exiting like our Disney Channel phase, and so like and Disney Channel was very formulaic, very bright, bubbly, everything works out fine. Play within these confines. Here's the box.
Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, exactly. Right, like Hannah Montana, Wizards of Waverly Place, Sunny with a Chance, that whole era. And I think that's kind of what appealed to us about like Korean dramas is that there was a lot less boundaries on what they could and couldn't show compared to like Disney Channel content, right? Or like yeah, or even Nickelodeon because I was also a big fan of like Victorious at that time as well, iCarly and Big Time Rush. So like watching Korean dramas is like, oh yeah, this is a nice step up. Like this is more serious, more engaging, more interesting. There's some different themes being covered here. So
Well, I mean, it also takes that whole like the whole cartoon thing of anime and manga and all that stuff. Like if you think about American cartoons, they're sarcastic.
Yeah.
They've got like a sarcastic comedy, but they're not
Right.
necessarily like
right.
gruesome reality.
No, that's exactly it, Val. I mean, I often bring this point up is about when you're looking at Japanese media, I feel like the things that kids are around in Japan is not at all comparable to stuff in American media. Because, I mean, thinking about comic books or manga, like, very accessible, massive industry, everyone knows and sees them, right? Like in Japan. Even if you're looking at like the different covers at the convenience stores or your brother or sister watches them, you see advertisements or whatever. And like, yeah, there's some very deep stuff or dark stuff that happens like within manga. Even if it is for like kids, like they're still touched on like other stuff. I think it's kind of trivial, but like I guess like one that they could give would be like the series Cardcaptor Sakura. Like in Cardcaptor Sakura, which is, you could even say it's like a kid style show, right? About this girl who goes into adventures, like there was some like
very rainbow bright.
yeah, exactly. But like this is like in the 1990s, and two of the characters in it are like they're like, I don't know, openly, but it's not hidden, like they're like a gay couple basically, right? Like these two guys like end up falling in love with each other, but like it's like portraying it on screen. Like that's not something that was, I don't feel like that was common in like American media until like late 2010, like the late 2000s, right? But like again, like over in Japan, like there's so many people were talking about already in the 1990s with media, whether it was a lesbian relationship or a gay relationship or whatever, even like people dying in manga and anime or graphic fight scenes and things like that. Do you remember all the hype against Japanese media, Val? I'm not sure if you ever heard about it. Things like Pokemon. Like there was a big outrage against Pokemon by like religious communities in the late 90s, where like religious communities would be like, don't watch Pokemon, it's an evil demonic show.
Satanic Panic.
Yeah, the Satanic Panic. Like it's insane. Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, all those kind of shows.
And I bet you these parents didn't even watch.
Didn't even watch them. No, exactly. It was just word of mouth and stuff getting hyped
like,
up.
what are these funny looking characters?
Well, I guess it's weird to think that stuff even happens still today, right? People are still trying to make panic over all sorts of issues and blow them up bigger than they are.
Well, it's also like, I don't know. It's just also, I mean, I think it's also a failure of people understanding that it's like, whether it's the development of these characters, like the imagination creating these characters, or the stories we create. It's a way to have conversations and process things, right? And then some of it is purely entertainment.
Yeah.
But there's always a story to tell in in these things. So, I mean, the Bible itself is a story.
Yeah. Yeah.
With winged creatures, with angels and devils,
and people getting sacrificed, and death, and all sorts of things. No, exactly.
Like pretty gory, you know. But I mean, sure, focus on Pokemon. I don't know.
Yeah, Pokemon's the enemy. Little Pikachu, the little demon infiltrating our kids' minds. Oh,
I don't
man.
I don't know, because my brain doesn't go there. I don't understand it, because I don't know. It's funny because there was a Twitter thing going on not so long ago about
Okay.
from Gen Z,
Okay.
about the stories and the movies that Gen Zers watched,
Okay.
and they were super dark, like you know, like never ending story, you know. It's not this fluffy fantasy land, you know, this freaking Neverland, whatever, I forgot what it's called. It's dying.
Oh,
It's
yeah, the
dying
Forgotten
because
Neverland.
kids aren't reading.
Okay.
Kids don't like, you know, and the main, not the one of the main, the hero, his best friend, the horse, dies this dramatic death, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. I was like, I don't know how old I was when that movie came out, and here I was watching this character lose his best friend.
Oh, the never-ending story, right?
Yeah, never ending story.
Yep.
Yeah. And then like the other ones, they brought up all these like cartoons. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's
all those things were depressing.
what was it called? American
Depressing,
Tail, I
yeah.
think. There were some very
Yes.
depressing, like 80s and 90s animated movies. There really were. There really were. And also some of them, like, you don't really get it until like you were a bit older. But I mean, even like thinking about The Rescuers, like that one's also a pretty dark story, I mean, as well about.
What was the dinosaur one?
Oh yeah, Land Before Time. Holy shit, that made me
Yeah.
cry every time I watched it. Dude, this was a sad one. Whenever like his mom died, oh my gosh, tears.
But at the same
Tears.
time, like someone I know was always like, she's like, I will never let my kids watch Bambi because of mother dying that way.
Oh, dude, yo, Val, I was, oh man, I felt a little bit bad about this. We were talking about lions in the classroom, and so I was showing some videos of like lions like hunting prey and just like in the wilderness, and then like there was one where it starts chasing down the zebra like a lion does, and like I stopped it before it got too graphic or whatever, but then like they're like, "Is it okay?" And I was like, "No, it gonna eat the zebra," and they're like, and I was like, "You didn't know that?" So it's like they acted as they like 2 or 3 of the kids like acted as they didn't know that lions ate wild animals in the wild, and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I was like, "So you're like a city kid, like you really don't know." I was like, "Yeah," I was like, "Guys, that's how it is in nature. Like they have to eat something. Like no one's gonna feed them."
I've never seen a cat catch a rat.
I know, right, Val? I was kind of shocked, and I think I think the student genuinely like hadn't thought about it or didn't know about it before, but she would have been like 11 or 12 years old. So I was like, "Oops, sorry."
There's no Santa.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a big one actually as well, because we do have talks about that sometimes. There's a few kids who still claim that Santa's real. So.
Sorry, YouTube. There's no Santa.
I go along with it. I play into the gag. I'm like, yeah, Santa's definitely real, 100%. And like, then it becomes like a flip flop game of like, they're like, "No, he's not." I'm like, "Yeah, he is." Like, "No, he's not. You're stupid. You're crazy." And I'm like, "No, it's real." So we turn into a joke. But yeah, there's a few kids who do say that. Did you ever believe in Santa, Val?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course. But then I one day realized it suddenly ticked
Something didn't add up.
that Santa's handwriting looked exactly like my mother's.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Mom, you're writing these." She's like,
So there was no
Gives
like
up.
conversation. You just kind of like put 2 and 2 together, I guess.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Yeah, I don't think in my family, I don't think we ever really made it a thing. Because we kind of all knew, like, how it was. Like, nah, we're a family and we're barely getting by. And, like, mom and dad get us some presents to be nice. And that's how it is. There's no Santa.
Like, you're also from, like, a big family. So
Yeah,
I feel like
exactly.
the older kids would have ruined it real fast.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. And also, I think, like, in our family, it was, like, more about gift sharing. So, like, we all buy gifts for each other. There's no need for, like, we don't need Santa. Like, we don't get it for each other.
Well, I mean, that has become part of the social conversation, like, at least here in the States, of, like, why are you going to lie to your kids?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you lying to your kids from an early age?
Yeah, I know, right? Completely agree, Val. I mean, I've talked about it with my kids a little bit sometimes in different contexts or different situations. But yeah, I just feel like it's better to be upfront with kids about most things. I mean, there might be a few very, you know, niche situations where it's better to kind of dodge it until later. But I feel about the most part, like, I don't know, gotta be upfront. Is there any exceptions you can think of, Val, that you would be like, that one thing is kind of out of bounds?
I don't know. I mean, like, I think the problem with the context of Santa is like the story is like you got to be good for presents. You got to
Yeah.
be bad.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get it. It's like it's a control aspect,
Exactly.
an
I don't
obedience
like
aspect.
that. Ugh, yeah.
Um,
That gives me the ick.
but like maybe I think if you don't use that as the ploy, you can let kids have an imagination.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because it's rooted in obedience, that's where the problem lies.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, because, like, for example, like the tooth fairy, there's nothing about obedience in the tooth fairy, right? It's just like you lose a tooth, you
It's
put it on your
also a
pillow.
crazy story. Like, why would you tell someone if you put your teeth under a pillow you get money? Sorry, that's a bit random.
I mean, it is random, but at least there's no, like,
Yeah, there's no hidden agenda there. It's true.
like,
quote-
because the agenda would be, like, from the dentist of, like, don't have candy, but then you're not losing your teeth.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Like,
Oh my
but then you
God.
are losing your teeth because it just happens naturally.
Naturally, yeah, exactly. You're a bad person if you lose your teeth. Oh no, I lost my teeth. Fuck. I'm gonna go to teeth hell. Rewards and punishment are the lowest form of education. It's a quote by the old Chinese philosopher Zhuangzi. Or I don't know.
I don't like. No, I'm suddenly thinking about this conversation because it's just sort of like kids have an imagination naturally, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Based on whatever stories and things like that
Mm-hmm.
that they're exposed to.
Mm.
And it's a natural thing about like a play. You have to have an imagination for a play.
Right.
So I guess the question is like the fine line of imagination and lie.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It is interesting, right, Val? Because also, I mean, touching on the autism thing as well. I was reading this Instagram page where a girl talked about that, like where a lot of her stuff was like in her mind, like she just had a very vivid imagination, and so she would get angry at people when they didn't play along with like the narrative that she was using, and so she'd be like, "Why are you not sticking to the script? Why are you not doing that?" Like her parents kind of to show her there's like, well, not everyone knows the stories that are going on in your head, so you got to explain it better, and also let them be able to have their own imaginations as well. I think I've always been. I think most kids are very influenced by what they consume. I think it's safe to say. When I was young, like I'd watch a TV show and immediately afterwards want to play as that character, whether it was like a detective or a superhero or a firefighter or whatever it was. I was always like watching it and be like, I want to recreate that. I want to do that right now. But to be fair, I think I still do that even to this day, though. I think I'm still very, very influenced by the kind of stuff that I consume and watch, right? Because been watching like. Yeah, I mean, with a lot of that, with content creators, I watch what other content creators do, and I'll kind of be inspired or guided by that as well. Like, okay, so they did that idea. I think I'm gonna borrow it or use that. So it doesn't really go away, does it? It's gotta, yeah.
No, it doesn't go away. It just depends how it presents itself differently from like when you're a kid versus
Correct. And I guess that's the
like
important
there may be
thing. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say maybe there's less fairies and dragons.
Well, I
Unless
mean,
you're writing about that stuff, of course.
well, I mean, I guess that's the point, right? I guess that's the one caveat is that being able to separate reality from fantasy, because if you take it too far, then you can get stuck in things like maladaptive daydreaming or what's real, what's not real, and parasocial relationships. Like I always bring up, like you definitely have to have a balance there. So, I mean, back to your main point about like lying or deceiving kids, like. That's kind of where you need to be more honest because, like, it's okay to imagine and daydream about that stuff, but also keep in mind, like, it isn't real. So, just keep that in mind,
But I feel like we still haven't answered the question about, like, Santa and whether parents should indulge.
Honestly, it's a fun fairy tale. I guess that's what I was saying. It's a fun fairy tale. So I think in the same way that we have different folktale, it's fun to like imagine or talk about that stuff. So like Paul Bunyan is like that's an old school one. Paul Bunyan, or different creatures like the Yeti or the Loch Ness monster, Bigfoot. Like I think it's fun.
The leprechaun.
Yeah, leprechauns. There we go. That's another good one. Unicorns, right? So I think it's fun to like pull them up and chit chat about that stuff, but always kind of insinuate that it's not real, or even if you say it's not real, but still like keep it as part of like your vernacular or the stories you tell. Like I guess that's the way that I feel like it'd be best, because it's like we can't objectively say like the Yeti isn't real, but it's very, 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 very likely it's not real. Right? So it's like yeah, the Yeti, like that's fun, but it's also probably not real. So because even
Well,
like
and I think. No, I was gonna say, I think in the context of Santa, it's like you can do it in the context of the season, but I think it's honest to say to your kids that, and I think it's okay to say to your kids, like, we are the ones buying the presents.
Yeah.
Like it's
definitely.
like, because number one, it's like appreciation for your parents.
Yep.
That there's no reason Santa should get all the appreciation. And the elves.
Well, and you don't want to disillusion them as well.
And yeah, like it's just, I think it's just like it's part of the season, like the Easter Bunny. It's part of the stories that we like to tell as people, but
correct.
It's not.
Well, again, but like I said, going back to folktales, I mean, like technically, like Santa is based off a real person, Saint Nicholas. So it's like. Deliver in that context, like technically Santa was a real figure, but we also have like this fanciful version that we like to play up and tell stories about,
Because commercialism.
It's commercial,
and that's another story for another day.
Well, I mean, like there's definitely that element to it, but I guess what I'm thinking about more of like how you explain it in terms of like it's real, but it's also fanciful. As with most folktales, where it's like there's a basis for it, but a lot of it's just made up. You make it more interesting, make it more fun. There's also the commercialism aspect. But I think in terms of like storytelling, like that's just the way Santa has come to be, right? Where like because of different cultures and people, appreciation of it, they put their own spin, their own lore into it, which makes lore what it is that we develop new stories around these characters, even if they're not completely real. So. That's like centuries of storytelling. Pretty interesting to think about, isn't it?
And then it makes me think again of like Asian cultures and their lores and then they have these really creepy.
Right? I was gonna say, I was like thinking about folk things in Asia, and most of them are monsters or demons. Most of them are, yeah. Oh,
like
man.
I don't know if Western culture has erased most of them. Because it can't be really, except for like Halloween. And even Halloween, it's very fluffy. It's not very scary anymore.
That's so weird, Valerie. You're so like, I must be overlooking some, but like as I'm thinking about it, there's so many like Asian ghosts and monsters that prevail to this day in folklore. I can't think of ones for the States outside of like mythical creatures, such as like a vampire or a werewolf.
Well, and we've also sanitized vampires, right?
Yeah.
Like
we've commercialized them. Yeah. In Asia, there's like the kappas. There's the what's that? The toilet ghost. There's so many. This dragon. Dokebi. Yep, the Dokebi in Korea. Goblins, Gumihos as well. There's who is it? This I don't know what her name is. The woman who asks if I'm pretty. Man, there's so many here. But yeah, there's so many for. So how funny. I must be overlooking some for.
I'm trying to think of like, okay, the American ones, but is it American? It's like the Bloody Mary one.
Did you catch that, Val? I literally just put in folk characters in Asia, and then it was listing like all like Dokebi, Kumiho, like the monsters. I didn't even say scary ones. I just said folk characters, and it was all. Oh man, that's funny. Paul Bunyan, John Henry is another one. Yeah, what a legend. Pecos Bill. Robin Hood, okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're like heroes.
Most of them like heroes, and also it's like human based, like they're human beings. They're not really. How funny! All of America's folk heroes in one map. Oh my god! Oh, Johnny Appleseed, legend. What do we have here? All the different parts of the states. Interesting.
It just goes to show again this positive spin on like folklore.
Right. But I also have to question, Val, and I don't know enough about history to really talk about it in depth, but I wonder if it has to do with like war history as well, right? Because obviously in Korea they've been through so many different conflicts, whereas America's come out on top in most of the conflicts they've been involved in. So I'm sure that kind of like
the white man has.
The white man has, yeah. That's a good point. So I'm sure that must like influence as well of like, no, we're the strongest, like we're the heroes, we're the whatever it is, that kind of permeates society.
But it's like I mean, like I know the Mexicans have like La Llorona.
Okay.
Which is sort of some sort of crying woman.
Okay.
Which is like some sort of scary character or whatever.
Yeah.
Folklore.
La Llorona. Mexican mythical vengeful ghost who is said to roam near bodies of water, mourning her children, whom she drowned in a jealous rage after discovering her husband was cheating on her. Why don't kids have to pay? What about the husband? What the hell? Oh my gosh.
Chupacabra. Okay, or something.
Vampirism. There's a wind. Patron god of the Aztec priesthood. Interesting.
But these are probably a lot of them are indigenous, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Not La Llorona, but
small sprite-like beings, elemental forces. Very interesting. All of these characters are kind of like indifferent or on the trickster side. It looks like though. Again, like we said.
A leprechaun.
Rascal, yeah. So interesting though. This is I need more research on this to explain like why it is and if it's true, if I'm overlooking something or what. It was an interesting quote about who's the writer again? Chainsaw Man. Fujimoto. What's his name?
Maybe because we're the country that has the most serial killers, we don't need any.
Oh gosh. Yeah. There was an interesting quote I wanted to see from the Chainsaw Man writer I saw today.
Chainsaw Man writer.
Have you heard about Chainsaw Man? Have you heard that thrown around?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I know about the Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, okay.
Whatever.
There's a Japanese series. It's quite popular, probably like top 5, I think, in the last couple years. It's called Chainsaw Man. I love it. Great series. About this, yeah, he's the main character here. So basically, it's about this boy who's like an orphan, and he just is like trying to survive, and he's getting bossed around by Yakuza and stuff like that. And then one day when he's about to die, his pet right here reveals that he's actually this demon, and if Denji will sign a contract with him, then he'll let Denji keep living, essentially. And so he makes this deal with this with Demon, and then he becomes the Chainsaw Man, is like his demon identity. So he'll live as like a human, but then he can also train into Chainsaw Man and fight devils and demons and stuff like that. And yeah, it's a very, very, very violent story. Lots of violence, but it's also a really interesting. It's a really interesting series because it's not like most other stories that have like happy endings. Chainsaw Man is almost always. It just feels very nihilistic, kind of. And also, it's also interesting because it's very like relatable. So I think the writer really captures like modern day life for a lot of younger people, like in the world. And that's what the quote I was looking for was basically that like the character Denji, he has to do all this fighting and stuff like that, and he doesn't want to. He just wants to have like a normal life and just like be happy, but like he can never be happy. Like he falls in love, and every time the person betrays him or tries to kill him, and so he just has like a really. I don't know. It's a really interesting story, the stuff they deal with about not being happy, not being fulfilled, wanting to have a simple life, but not even being able to have a simple life, and those kind of themes. It's a really interesting the way that he talks about it. Yeah, here we go. That's the quote I was looking for. Okay, so the writer said, when you look at the current young generation, they try to live in a simple way day by day. I don't criticize them. I think it's very good to live like that. That's why I created Denji, whose ambition is extremely low. Which can sound like a kind of, by the way, Val, I'm not sure if you were saying something. Like, I can't hear anything just now, so I'm not sure if the mic dropped or if you weren't saying anything. But I can't hear anything for right now from your side. But it was just interesting. It can sound kind of derogatory to say like their ambition is extremely low, but I think it's also like not untrue because like the difficulty people have to do what they want to do or to even know what they want to do because there's so much that we have to do. It's hard to focus on what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. You're good. There you go.
I think it's every time I come back to my computer.
Oh, okay.
There's a conflict. I'm trying to open this website
Which
page.
one is it? Some kind of article or something?
Yeah, because I was looking for I was looking for evil spirits from America and stuff.
Okay. Skinwalkers is when I thought of Skinwalkers. People talk about them.
I'm gonna send it to you. Maybe you can open it.
Oh, yeah, do it. Throw it into the chat and I'll open it up. There we go. All right, here we go.
Or maybe the website just doesn't exist.
Oh, what the heck? Wow. Yeah, it's definitely giving me some trouble here. Let me try to go to like their base website. No, looks like it's not gonna load.
Annoying.
That is annoying.
Someone created a list and
Okay, let me try another thing. I'll try to search it on Google, and then maybe I can get a caged version of the website. Okay, here we go, and give me caged. Okay, no pictures, but we do have some names. Yeah, Yanal Dushi, which aka Skinwalkers, In Mayan mythology, something with a large bird that dwelled on the surface of the world after the flood. Interesting. Man, how many other celestial demons in Aztec mythology?
See, but they're all indigenous.
Yeah, they're all indigenous, exactly. Yeah.
We don't have any imagination.
Apparently not. But I mean, do you think it also has to do with the fact that America is like was so influenced by Christianity?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think a lot of other cultures had like their own religions and their own spiritual beliefs that might have influenced this as well. Whereas maybe for Americans, more like, nope, there's God and there's a devil, and that's all. Anything else other outside of that is blasphemy. So you're not allowed to talk about it. Ghost stories. So many of these are going to be fake, but I wonder if we can find any real ones. Or, like, more realistic ones. 11 is curious. Reddit. Yeah.
I remember there was like, this is years ago.
Okay.
I want to say it's like, I want to say it was like TLC or Discovery or one of those channels
Okay.
that had like ghost stories. And I feel like the story was like somewhere in the UK in like some, estate.
Okay.
That there was this creature that roamed this home. It basically looked like Cousin It from the Addams Family.
Okay.
But apparently it smelled so bad. Like that's why you knew it was around because of the stench.
Because the stench.
And I remember, even though I had seen like Addams Family and I knew the character, Cousin It, when I saw it on this show, whatever this thing was, this thing freaked me out. I think I blocked it. I think I blocked it because I feel like this thing had teeth. Like a hairy thing with teeth. Hold on a second. Oh my gosh, I just answered a phone call that was just like completely automated.
That's fun.
But like the voice is like good. Like it's a
you couldn't
person's
tell.
real voice.
Gotcha.
It's like a real person, but like when you answer, it's like they're giving answers that didn't really match what I said.
Oh, okay, I see. It's like kind of vague
So,
things. Yeah. Okay, so here's a collection of like the best ghost stories on Reddit. So, which one should we go with? Ones that will fuck you up forever, ones that will keep you up tonight, ones that will shock the shit out of you. What do you think we should... Oh, what about this one? Let's go with this one. Sounds interesting. Are these like stories or must be... Yeah, I want something that's like more realistic. These ones look like they're stories though. These are so long. Look how long they all are. My gosh. What's something a little more compact? What about
Like Cliff Notes.
I don't mind reading, but like it's like a whole whole book basically. Like, yo, publish a novel, dude. Oh my gosh. I think I don't know what math is. I don't even know what that was, but that was funny. Okay, let's go with this one. At some point, I'm just gonna like choose one just to read it. Whatever. Oh my gosh. Okay, package mode return to sender. It's a super popular one, apparently. My neighbor's one of those annoying wannabe YouTube personalities. Over the years, I've seen him cough out cinnamon, lay flat on the hood of his car, as it slowly creeps down the driveway, and douse himself in lukewarm water, all while screaming epic win, epic fail, or fuck, epic maintenance of the status quo, for all I know. It can get tiring to watch him go about his shenanigans in the pursuit of viral fame, so when he knocked on my door the other day, he told me he was going away for a few weeks and asked that I get his mail. Honestly, it was a relief. I can't explain the peace of mind I had knowing I didn't have to brace myself for any of his stupidity for a while. I was always afraid of his stunts would wind up bleeding over into my own life. That's definitely going to be a foreshadow for the story. Things were pretty normal for the first couple of days. He received a few bills, a bit of spam, what I could only assume was a birthday card. Then one evening, I got home to find a cardboard box waiting on his front porch. In big red letters was written, "Return to sender." I'm no small fry, but I admit I had trouble. Does anyone even put that on a box, like in big red letters? It's kind of... They do use red ink, I guess, but I don't know about big red letters. It sounds like a bit... But I admit I had trouble lifting the box on my own. It was really freaking heavy. Lugging across the road to my house was even harder, and I quickly realized there was no way I was going to drag it up the stairs to my front door. Why would you take it to your house? I decided I'd leave his package in my garage. It wasn't like I kept my car in there. The garage was just a piece of shit that refused to open with a good thug and a whack, the garage door. It was less trouble just leaving the car in the driveway than it was to fight with the garage door every morning and night. In hindsight, I should have let the package down for a while. I should have let the package down while I struggled to open the tricky door, but you know how it is when you've got a good grip on something. No point in setting it down if you don't have to. It was as I kicked the door for a third time that I lost my grip on the package and it fell to the ground. I heard a light crack inside. Shit, I cursed. I hoped I hadn't broken anything important, but I figured I wouldn't tell my neighbor about it and just let him assume the break happened en route. It's returned to... Oh, so it's coming back to his house because he sent it out. Okay, I see. Hands-free, I finally managed to get the garage door unstuck, and boy did it screech in protest that rolled up and over me. I dragged the box the rest of the way, steady in the corner for whenever my neighbor would come back to claim it. And then, I forgot all about it. Until a few days passed, that is. I'm not exactly sure how long... I think we both know where this is going. I'm not exactly sure how long it took for the smell to waft in from the crack under the garage to the house door, but it came in slow progression. It was a sickly sweet odor similar to a skunk, and for the first few days after I smelled it, I genuinely assumed that's exactly what it was, roadkill that had left its mark on my house. It was only when I realized the scent was growing more intense instead of fading that I went looking for a source. That's when I opened my garage door, and that's when our door knocked me back, holding my nose. I smelled some pretty bad things before, I can imagine. The culprit wasn't hard to identify. The only change in my garage was the box in the corner. I remember thinking it must have been one of the meat of the month subscription boxes. The meat must have gone rancid from being left out in the fridge for so long. How much meat could have been in there for the box to have been so large and heavy? An entire freaking cow? I covered my nose as I approached the box, a pair of scissors in my hand. What? You don't open someone's box? What the hell? I probably wouldn't have needed to open it as it becomes soggy enough at the bottom to poke through with a finger, but I wasn't about to poke my finger into spoiled meat juices. Why would you open it as well? You don't want to open it. It's going to make it worse. That soggy bottom was the reason I had to open the box in the first place. If I tried to drag it out whole, everything would spill onto the floor. I was going to have to dump the pieces of meat one garbage bag at a time and take them down to the dumpster, a process I wasn't looking forward to. Would neighbors actually do any of this?
Not me.
Not me. Not me. I would have left it on his front porch. My scissors tore through the tape along the opening of the cardboard box. I thought the smell couldn't get any worse, but as I flipped the flaps open, I discovered a whole new gamut of stink. That's exactly what happens when you open a sealed package that already stinks. It was like opening... Not that I know, by the way. It was like opening a burning oven, but instead of a heat wave, I was met with waves of piss, sweat, shit, and putrefaction. It was so bad that I staggered back and had to force down the puke begging to guzzle out of me. I don't think I could have handled that scent mingling with the horrors coming out of the box. I'm not ashamed to admit I ran out of the door for a breath of fresh air, but in the short time I'd spent in the garage, the smell had become so ingrained in the fabric of my clothes that it clung to me like a shadow. Gross. I have a similar story that I heard on Reddit I gotta share with you guys. Nothing I tried could keep the smell out of my nostrils. Not air fresheners, not a face mask, not 3 showers, a change of clothes. Every second that box lay open in my garage was another second the smell was allowed a foothold into my home. I had to bite the bullet. I returned to the garage, the flaps of the box still open as though inviting me to look. As I was prepared, a close pinning my nostrils shut, a garbage bag in one hand, the strongest cleaner I could find in the other, and long rubber gloves to keep my skin from having to touch what was inside. But, as it turned out, I needed none of those things. I wouldn't have to touch or clean the contents of that box. I would only have to suffer the nightmares every night. You see, there was meat in that box, but it didn't come from a cow or a pig. No, it was worse than that. It was my neighbor. Dead. Still in one piece, but dead. I called the cops, and naturally they took me in for interrogation. It's kind of hard not to suspect the man with a corpse in his garage after all. Thankfully, they soon realized I wasn't involved. My DNA might have been all over the box, the smell might have left a mold through my house, but there was one piece of irrefutable evidence in my neighbor's own hands that proved my innocence, a vlogging camera. They showed me the footage only once. I'm not sure if they were allowed to, if they felt so bad for me they figured it couldn't hurt. Either way, I saw it. No, that didn't happen. My neighbor was sitting in the box outside of a shipping facility, laughing as he told the world how he was going to mail himself across state lines. He'd brought pee bottles, food, a pillow, and a few flashlights. His friend, a guy I'd seen in his place several times to help with his stunts, closed the lid and presumably dropped him off for a shipment. Throughout the next couple of hours or days, I'm honestly not sure, my neighbor recorded a few short clips about his progress. I think I'm in a truck now. I can feel it moving. Must be in a warehouse. Pretty warm here. Still got plenty of food. That kind of stuff. And then on the last entry, the box toppled over. He broke his neck, and that was it. The camera recorded until either the memory card got too full or the battery died. There's one thing I didn't tell the police after they showed me the video. One thing I heard in the footage that will haunt me to the day I die. Just after the tumble that broke his neck, I heard the familiar screeching sound of my garage door.
So he killed his neighbor.
Is that the I don't know, is that the twist? Because he was angry.
Is that why he heard the garage door? Remember, he also dropped it, no? Didn't he?
Oh! That was the catch. Good catch, Val. I missed that because he... Oh, my gosh. I'm so silly. Yeah.
It's okay.
Thank you for clearing that up for me.
Like, it took me a second, too, at the end. I'm like, huh? Garage door? And then I'm like,
Oh, my gosh. How would you... You would not break someone's neck by dropping it. After being through everything it's been through? No way.
With the way people handle packages? No.
Yeah.
And that's how big was the neighbor? Like,
yeah, I
how
know,
big was
right?
the box? How, like...
It's a fun story, but there's way too many holes in it to be believable.
Like, it's like if a box is the size of a human,
right?
I'm not moving it. Even
and the address,
even if it was...
But also, like, the address, Val, like, what would the address be? Like, did he mail it? Like, what? Where was he mailing it to? The address would have been on the box.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
they wouldn't just return to send, like, there's so many holes.
Nice story, dude. Nice story.
Yeah, nice story. Good fun. It was a fun little twist ending there. I think kind of predictable, but
You tried. He tried.
He did his best. He got a lot of prizes for it as well. 21,000 upvotes, almost 22,000 upvotes. My gosh. How funny. Yeah, there's some, I think smells are a big issue here in Korea at apartments as well. So I can imagine the smells because it's something to do with the plumbing, but like people also, it happens to me, happens to people as well, other people as well. The smells will drift in through the drainage pipes. And then also through like the air vents above your stove as well. And so there's been a few mornings when I wake up to the smell of like someone cooking fish. It's not fun. Somehow it drifts down. I don't know how, because I don't know how it's like wired, but like it comes in through like the vent above my stove. It was gross. It was gross. In the bathroom stench, like the only thing you have to do is like you have to get like a lid and put it over like the shower drain and the sink drain. Otherwise, yeah, it stinks horribly. Not fun.
That's not good for viruses either.
That's also true as well, Val. Yeah, but the stench is horrible. I don't know if you've ever had that in the States, but it's a common occurrence here in Korean apartments.
No, I think they design things differently, unless it's like an older building, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's part of what it is. It's it being an older building. there's one last story we want to do before we wrap it up. Oh yeah, here we go. I heard this the other day. This is wild. Okay. Am I the asshole for not letting my apartment mate, 21 female, back inside after she got spat upon by a camel? This just happened, and it's been super stressful, wondering if I made the right decision. Posted 22 days ago, by the way. I share an apartment, and it's been super stressful. I'm sorry, I share an apartment with another woman, and we've been decent enough acquaintances. The primary tenant, but she's subleasing, and the landlord is okay with that. Apparently, she walked out to this fair. Pardon me. She walked out to this fair that had all sorts of attractions and animals. It was walking distance, but about a mile away from our unit. I remember it being advertised, but I didn't go. Well, to put it plainly, she got spat on by a camel. She texted me shortly after it happened to warn me that she was coming home. I thought, okay, what's the big deal? Come home. I saw her coming up the steps, looking miserable through the window, and went out to the porch to greet her. Instantly, I was hit with the most unbelievably vile smell I've ever smelled. From a good 20 feet away. I really couldn't take it. I got only a whiff, and I could feel my stomach churning. I went back inside and closed the door. She came up and tried to get inside with her key, but I was practically begging her, "No, whatever happened, you can't come in like that." She was yelling, "What? I live here!" and then was practically crying that she had nowhere else to go. I said, "I'm sorry, but there's no way. I can't let that smell in here." I could smell her through the door. I was gagging. I suggested that she find a hose, or a shower somewhere, or jump in a creek, or something. Anything but coming in like that. But she was saying no store would let her in. But I held firm. I held the door closed until she walked away. She came back an hour later, soaking wet. Maybe she had jumped in a creek and opened the door. I couldn't just sit there holding it shut all day. And the smell was maybe barely better, but still horrific. She jumped straight into the shower, but I can still faintly smell it throughout our whole living room, and it's making me feel absolutely sick. Now we're both furious at each other. I'm mad that she came back in before the smell was gone, and now the whole place smells unbearable. She's furious that I dared to hold the door shut and keep her out, and is saying that she'll be talking to the landlord or a lawyer because that can't be legal. But I don't know what else I could have done. This is dreadful. Am I the asshole? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That story is insane to me. And by the way, the answer is definitely yes, you are the asshole.
Yeah, but apparently it's pretty brutal.
Yeah, but Val, it's kind of hard to, like, this woman lives there. It's her house.
I know.
Like, I get it, the scent and everything, but, like, it's her house. She pays for it. So
Like, open
she's
all
got to
the
get
windows.
clean somewhere. There's nowhere else for her to get clean at. I don't think there's anywhere. She said no store would let her in. So I don't even
No hose in the
know.
background.
Oh my gosh.
No backyard with a water thing.
I can only think of like a YMCA or like a gym possibly, but like she said a store wouldn't even let her in, so I guess that's not even a possibility. I mean, it's fucking sucks, but at the same time, it's her house. She pays for it. She's got to get clean. Also, I feel sorry for her because can you imagine that? Like walking to a fair 1 mile away, having this horrible smell on you, coming back to your house and someone saying, no, you can't come inside your house. I would probably like break down because like it's already going to be hard to breathe with having the scent on me. And then someone says I can't come into my house. Like, oh my gosh. I think I would be pissed off. Oh man. Yes, you are, and it's likely illegal. If she's paying rent to live there, you can't just randomly lock her out because you don't like how she smells. When people are dirty and gross, the place they clean themselves up is in their bathroom, which you blocked her from. The right thing to do would have been to leave while she gets cleaned up and come back with an air freshener.
That's true.
It's illegal to deny entrance to your own home in every single state in the U.S. OP will probably go to jail if the roommate finds this post. Oh my gosh.
Traumatic.
Yeah, it says, edit, the amount of people of you who mix up prison and jail is ridiculous. If I were to press charges against someone, they would go to jail for booking and wait for either a jury to decide if they'll pay bail and walk away. Jail is typically a one-night stay, not a lifelong punishment, like some of y'all seem to think. Doesn't mean she'll even have to go to trial. It doesn't mean she'll rot forever. It doesn't mean the prosecutor will be able to take the case. It just means she'll be accused of a crime and the judicial process will begin. man.
Some of these "Am I the Asshole" things are so like crazy.
It really is. Oh man. Yes, you are, and absolutely vile. Everyone's saying you should have used Febreze or a different scent and just stayed outside, basically. Oh man. Oh man.
This was like, wear a mask.
Yeah.
That doesn't cover the smell.
It won't fix it. I mean, it might make it a little bit better, maybe, but yeah. I mean, break out the essential oils, put on some 2 or 3 face masks, step outside for a while, go get some food at a restaurant. Come back and hope for the best. Oh man.
Open all the windows.
Yeah, that's wild. And also, by the way, because I heard the story on YouTube, like they said that the spit would be like how cows chew their cud, so the food goes down the stomach and comes back up. So that's basically like why it would stink so bad, is because like the camels do the same thing, swallow food,
It's
spit it up,
fermented.
and then spit it out. So it's like stomach chemicals and a bunch of rancid food. So, not a fun situation at all. We need like one of our Middle Eastern friends to jump on and tell us if that's ever happened before to them, or if they've ever experienced it, like Habiba or something. Like, I wonder if they have any experience, or they know someone it's happened to. Yeah, I wonder if they know someone who it's happened to, because that sounds awful. Oh man. Oh, Val, thanks for jumping on. It's always more fun to have you around. So thanks for making time.
Thanks for letting me join.
Always.
I'm glad
always
I
and
could
forever.
join.
That was so much fun. All right, guys. We'll see you next week on
Enjoy
Tuesdays
your
and Thursdays.
weekend.
Yeah, you too, Val. Have any plans for your weekend, or nothing special?
It's a long weekend, so I'm just gonna relax. 4th of July.
4th of July. It's here already. My gosh. Wow. This year is kind of flying by. It's already I think it's already 50% through the year. I read on Twitter. There's like that countdown. So.
Yeah.
50% July. So yeah, halfway through. Insane. All right, Val. Take care. See you later. Bye, everybody.
All right, bye.